The kingdom of Umudike was known for its fertile lands, colorful festivals, and warriors whose names were sung by village drummers. At the center of it all stood the royal palace where Prince Dede lived. Prince Dede was everything the people admired and everything they feared. Tall, handsome, and skilled with the sword, he rode through the village with the confidence of a man who believed the world should make way for him. Being the son of King Kunku, he had grown up hearing that one day he would wear the crown. Praise followed him everywhere, and slowly it turned into pride. To Dede, respect was something everyone owed him. Love, however, was something he had never cared for. Whenever young ladies smiled at him during festivals or lowered their eyes in admiration, he simply nodded and walked away. He believed no woman was worthy enough to stand beside the future king. But there was one person in Umudike who had never bowed her head to anyone. Her name was Uzwamaka. She was the daughter of the late General Obina, the greatest warrior the kingdom had ever known. Before he died defending Umudike from invaders, he had taught his only daughter one lesson. Strength means nothing if it is not used to protect others. Uzwamaka lived by those words. If she saw a wealthy trader cheating a poor farmer, she spoke up. If boys mocked a child for being different, she stood between them. If a chief's son tried to intimidate anyone because of his father's position, she reminded him that title did not make a person honorable. Some called her stubborn, others called her disrespectful, but those whose lives she defended called her fearless. She never cared what people whispered behind her back. As long as I know I am doing what is right, she often said, their opinions belong to them. Because of that, many people avoided arguments with her, not because they could not defeat her, but because she never backed down. One bright morning, the village market was alive with laughter and bargaining. Women displayed baskets of fresh vegetables. Children chased one another between stalls. And elders sat beneath the great Iroko tree, discussing the affairs of the kingdom. Prince Dede rode into the market on his white horse, expecting the usual reaction. People stepped aside. Some bowed, others greeted him respectfully. Dede barely acknowledged them. At the same moment, Uzwamaka hurried through the market after helping an elderly woman whose basket had spilled into the dust. Neither of them noticed the other. Then, bang! She collided with the prince. The force made Dede lose his balance, and his walking staff fell to the ground. The market became silent. Nobody had ever bumped into Prince Dede. Dede looked up, his face burning with anger. Have you gone blind? He snapped. Uzwamaka folded her arms. I am about to ask you the same question. The crowd gasped. Nobody spoke to Dede that way. Dede stepped closer. Do you know who I am? She struggled. Of course I do. You are Prince Dede. Then you should be on your knees asking for forgiveness. A faint smile appeared on Uzwamaka's face. I only lean before the gods and to my parents. Pride isn't worthy of my knees. A murmur spread across the market. Dede's jaw tightened. You dare insult the future king? I dare speak the truth, she replied calmly. The day you learn that being a prince does not make you greater than anyone else is the day that this kingdom will truly have a king. The prince's guards instinctively reached for their spears. The crowd held their breath. But Uzwamaka did not move. She stared directly at the prince's eyes without the slightest hint of fear. Then she spoke again. My father was the great general, the man who shed his blood so that this kingdom could stand. I am his only daughter. Do not mistake my respect for the kingdom as fear of the prince. Dede scoffed. You are bold. I am. You are impossible, I have been told. For a brief moment, neither of them spoke. The entire marketplace watched the battle of words unfold. Finally, Dede pointed at her. This is not over. Uzwamaka picked up the prince's fallen staff, dusted it carefully, and placed it in his hands. No, she said firmly. It has only just begun. She turned and walked away without looking back. The crowd slowly parted to let her pass. Prince Dede stood frozen, watching her disappear into the busy streets. For the first time in his life, someone had challenged him. Someone had refused to fear him. And although anger burned inside him, another feeling quietly stood in his heart. Curiosity. He did not know it yet, but the fearless daughter of a fallen warrior had just changed the course of his life forever. The argument in the marketplace refused to leave the prince's head. Even after returning to the royal palace, he paced around his chamber, his hands clenched into fists. A mere woman, he muttered. How dare she speak to me like that? Unable to calm himself, he went straight to the throne room, where Kunku sat listening to reports from his chief. The king dismissed everyone and looked at his son. What troubles you, Dede? The daughter of General Obina insulted me before the entire marketplace. The king replied, I heard. You heard? Dede asked in disbelief. And you did nothing? The old king leaned back in his throne. Dede, Uzwamaka is not a child to be mocked. Her father trained her from the day she could walk. General Obina believed courage belongs to whosoever possesses it, whether male or female. Dede scoffed. She is still a woman. King Kunku's eyes narrowed. And? How can a woman become one of the warriors of Umudike? Have you run out of men? The king smiled. If she is not worthy, the kingdom will know. Dede frowned. What do you mean? In 7 days, the warriors' tournament will begin. The prince's face brightened. Then she will be humbled. You will also compete. The smile disappeared from Dede's face. I beg your pardon? You heard me. But father, when I was your age, King Kunku interrupted. I fought for this kingdom with my own hands. Before I became king, I wrestled and bled beside other warriors. He rose from his throne. A prince who has never tasted battle cannot understand the burden of leading men. Dede's eyes lowered. You will fight, the king continued. When you have fought bravely and proven yourself 3 times, then you shall remain on the throne while your general leads the army. Dede bowed reluctantly. As you command, father. Across the kingdom, Uzwamaka returned to the modest home where she lived with Adieze, the widow of another fallen warrior who had died beside General Obina. Adieze welcomed her with a worried look. I heard what happened in the marketplace. Uzwamaka laughed softly. The prince deserved every word. Adieze shook her head. You were rude. He is proud. That is not your concern. It is everyone's concern when pride begins to oppress people. Adieze placed both hands on Uzwamaka's shoulders. My daughter, learn to respect people and sometimes mind your own business. Uzwamaka smiled gently. If everyone minds only their own business, who will defend those being bullied? Adieze said. I only fear trouble from the palace. The royal palace? Uzwamaka laughed. King Kuku knows me well. Adieze blinked. He sent for me this morning. What did he want? He invited me to compete in the warriors tournament. Adieze stared at her in silence. You? Yes. But you are a woman. My father trained me all my life. The king knows that. Adieze slowly smiled. Then he truly believes you are worthy. He believes I deserve the chance. The following morning, Uzwamaka and her best friend Naya walked towards the village stream with clay pots balanced gracefully on their heads. Unlike Uzwamaka, Naya loved colorful wrappers, beads, and dancing during festivals. She laughed easily and dreamed of raising a happy family someday. As they walked, Naya nudged her friend. So, have you been training? Uzwamaka smiled. Every morning, and every evening, and every night. Naya burst in laughter. I knew it. Even the bush behind your house is probably tired of your wrestle tree stumps. The two friends laughed together. As they passed a group of elderly women, they stopped laughing. One of the women lowered her voice. There goes the tomboy. Another shook her head. What is wrong with that girl? Whenever men are fighting, she is there. I pity her. If only her mother had lived, she would have grown into a proper woman. Another woman sighed. What happened to her mother? She died giving birth to Uzwamaka, and her father never remarried. He said no one will love his daughter the way her own mother would. One woman clicked her tongue. Those great warriors loved their daughters too much. Exactly. Instead of teaching her how to become a wife, he turned her into another warrior. My own daughter can never behave like that. Mine too. They all laughed. Uzwamaka heard every word. She kept walking. Naya frowned. Don't listen to them. I wasn't planning to. A little further ahead, they greeted a group of elderly men. Good afternoon. The men answered kindly after the girls walked past. One of them whispered, I heard she's entering the Warriors tournament. I heard the same. Another chuckled. That girl should have been born a man. An older elder slowly shook his head. I don't blame her. She lost her mother. Her father raised her alone, and General Obina was stubborn enough for 10 men. The group laughed. What kind of husband will marry a woman who wrestles? The laughter grew louder. Uzwamaka simply smiled and continued towards the stream. For the next 3 days, she trained before sunset under the scorching afternoon sun. Long after darkness covered the village, her hands bled, her muscles ached, yet she refused to stop. At last, the day of the Warriors tournament arrived. The entire kingdom gathered around the great wrestling arena. Drums echoed across Umudike. Children climbed trees for a better view. Women filled the stands. Men cheered loudly. No woman had ever entered the competition before. Whispered filled the crowd. Look at her. Instead of learning dances to attract a husband, she wants to wrestle warriors. I hope they teach her a lesson. Another young maiden laughed. She deserves to lose. But a young otter nearby shook his head. You laugh because she is brave. At least, she has the courage to stand where none of us dare. The women became quiet. The royal trumpet sounded. King Kunkun stood. Today, we choose the next general of Umudike. Thunderous applause followed. The tournament began. One after another, contestants fought until only 4 challengers remained. Then, the announcer called, Uzwamaka. The arena fell silent. She walked into the center without fear. Her first opponent charged recklessly. Within moments, she twisted his arm, swept his leg from beneath, and threw him flat onto the ground. The crowd gasped. The second warrior stepped forward. He was larger, stronger, more experienced. The struggle lasted longer, but Uzwamaka moved with speed instead of force. She dodged his attack, seized the perfect opening, and slammed him onto his back. Another victory. The third warrior entered with confidence. He circled her slowly. This battle tested both strength and patience. Finally, Uzwamaka caught his shoulder, shifted her weight, and sent him crashing into the ground. Silence. The entire arena stared in disbelief. Only one opponent remained, Prince Dede. He stepped into the arena, removing his royal robes until his wrestling attire remained. He looked directly at Uzwamaka. I warned you. She smiled calmly. And I told you, this was only the beginning. The drum stopped. The two circled one another. Neither rushed, neither blinked. Then suddenly, Dede attacked. He was fast, much faster than the others. Uzwamaka barely escaped his first grip. The crowd roared. He attacked again. She countered. He pushed. She resisted. Dust rose around them. For several minutes, neither could overcome the other. King Kunkun leaned forward with interest. This is the battle I wish to see. Finally, Dede charged one last time. Uzwamaka stepped aside at the perfect moment. Using his own strength against him, she seized his arm, turned sharply, lifted him from the ground, and threw the prince onto his back. The arena exploded into silence. No one moved. No one spoke. The prince had fallen. A woman had defeated royal blood. Sophie, one of the village women, covered her mouth. She has defeated the prince. King Kunku slowly rose to his feet. His voice echoed across the arena. People of Umudike, everyone looked towards the throne. Today's history has been written. He stretched out his hand towards Uzwamaka. From this day forward, I declare Uzwamaka the first female general of Umudike. The royal drummers burst into celebration. The palace guards struck their spear against the ground. Some villagers cheered loudly. Others forced smiles onto their faces. Many were not celebrating her victory. They feared what it meant. A fearless general would expose corruption. Bullies would lose their power. The weak would finally have someone to defend them. Standing in the center of the arena, Uzwamaka raised her head towards the sky. Some victories change a life. This one will change an entire kingdom. Kingdom of Umudike is amazed by this new transformation. What do you think will happen next? Will Uzwamaka really succeed in this position? Please comment in the comment section. Thank you very much. Welcome if this is your first time seeing our story. This is African Tales Studio by Buki. Please like, share, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any amazing African stories. And if you've always been following us, we appreciate you. Please like and comment. Thank you so much.